donation remorse, like, you know, when you donate something and then you want it back. In the past, we've had two fortunate times when a client had got rid of something and we took it to a donation site and we were able to retrieve it. Most of the other times we aren't able to retrieve it because, you know, if you take it to kidney, it goes eventually to savers and then it's, you know, in their warehouse somewhere. So most times we say that people want the item again, or because it's on top of their mind, they're thinking of all the ways they could use this item, right? And last but not least, just think, darling, says the mother to the adult child, one day all of this will be yours. And it's funny because when our clients say that and I see the reaction of their adult children, they're like, I don't want mom's stuff. No way, right? I don't have space or I don't like her things. So right now we're trying to help clients empower themselves to make decisions about their stuff now versus later. So our typical scenario, I'm just giving you guys some sort of a background about our company and what we do. We basically do this every day, and that's where our stories come from, and that's where our expertise comes from. But most of our clients have retired, and they're starting to plan for the future, right? I retired, I'm 65 years old. What am I going to do? Am I going to find a second job? Am I going to just take care of the grandkids? Am I going to move in 20 years? So what am I doing? Am I going to age in place? And, you know, especially now because we've been home since March, a lot of people want to downsize or declutter, right? They're home doing work and in the corner of their eye, they see the big pile of stuff there and think, oh my God, has that always been there? Or I need to get rid of some of this stuff because now, you know, instead of everyone only being home for dinner and sleep, we're now home 24/7, right? We're home during the day. We're home for breakfast, lunch, dinner, every day. So we're now starting to think about what we need to do to start to declutter our homes. We specialize in actually decluttering and downsizing. We help clients make that move to their new place. We'll help them to age in place. We'll help with estate clear out. So that's when a loved one has passed away. We'll help clear out everything in that home. So that's where our expertise comes from. So now let's get into the New Year's resolutions, right? Everyone has New Year's resolutions, whether it's lose weight, go to the gym, family time, exercise, quit smoking, maybe quit drinking. And one of the bigger ones that a lot of people actually tell me is, oh yeah, I'm gonna start to declutter this year, or I want to start getting my house organized. So that's one of the New Year's resolutions we always hear. So we're going to talk about decluttering and how to do this process. Today we're going to talk a lot about different tips on how we declutter, how we get rid of our things, how we can sort through it and determine what can be sold, donated, or trashed. So the first thing we want to talk about is letting go of your things, right? I don't know if any of you feel this way, but is it easy getting rid of your stuff? Can you just get a trash bag or a box and go in an area and be like, oh, I don't need that, I don't need that, I don't need this, right? Most of us can't, and it's because it's emotional, right? It's emotional to get rid of your things, it's emotional to go through your things. And with that said, we talk to our clients and say, you know, it's not going to be easy, it is a process, but how do we get through that process and where do we start? So we're going to talk to you today about where we can get started and how to start that process going. We never call your stuff junk, right? Nobody has junk. We have a lifetime of memories. And however long your lifetime is, that's how long memories you have, right? So it's not clutter, it's not junk. Really, when we downsize and we declutter, we really need to think about our goal. What can we keep and what should we keep if we're going to move or if we're going to try to age in place, right? So letting go of your things, it's not going to be easy, but hopefully through the processes that we go through today, it'll help make the process a little bit easier for you. Okay, so these are some of the tips to conquering this clutter. We start with the least used rooms or closets. We don't want to start in the most personal space that you have. We don't usually start in bedrooms or closets or, you know, where your recliner is. We don't start in that area because it's the most personal space to you. We want to start in the least personal space. So meaning maybe the hallway closet where all the linen is, or the back bedroom that is now called storage, right? We want to go in areas that we have the least emotional attachment to it. And that's because it should be a little bit easier than our most personal space. Okay. If you were to start in your bedroom and you say, okay, I'm going to go through my closet, I can get rid of half of this clothes. Unfortunately, you might not even get to a quarter of it because we have attachments to all of the items, right? Oh, that's the dress I wore to my son's wedding. And oh, this is my own wedding dress, or this is clothes that I can fit into because my New Year's resolution is to lose weight. I'm going to go down 2 sizes, right? So we want to keep all the skinny clothes. And, but yet we tell ourselves, well, if I gain weight this year because of COVID, I might have to keep the bigger clothes. So we have a harder time releasing things if it's more personal to us. So we start in the linen closet. We all have more linen than we actually can use or need, right? If you buy 2 twin size beds instead of the queen bed, then you can get rid of all the queen sheets, right? And just keep the twin size sheets. So these are areas that should not be as personal to you. So we start in those areas. Then we schedule time to get started. We set mini goals, right? What is the smaller goals to get to the larger goal? We want to sort our things into 4 categories, and we'll go through the SORT acronym just shortly. We want to begin with high traffic areas. And I talk about high traffic areas as safety, right? We want to work in the hallway, right? How many of us have a hallway that is 3 feet wide, but because there's a bookcase in the hallway or boxes or bins, it only becomes a foot or a foot and a half of space, right? We want to start in the areas that we walk a lot to, whether it's to the bedroom, to the bathroom, to the kitchen, because unfortunately, at crazy times where we're rushing to get out of the door or we're rushing to go to the bathroom, one little box that's pointing in your way of your walk path could trip you and we can fall, right? So we want to increase safety by starting in the high traffic areas. Minimize incoming items, and we've all been doing this because of COVID, right? We go out and we buy 5 cases of water. We don't need 5 cases of water, but it's hurricane season, so we want to get prepared. If you don't drink all the 5 cases of water, is it still in your living room on the ground, right? So we want to minimize those incoming items, making sure we have the space for it when we bring it home. And last but not least, we want to share our goals. Share our goals with somebody, a friend, a family member, somebody that will help you be accountable. Okay. Now that you know, okay, we're going to start in the linen closet, then we're going to work our way to the more personal spaces. What do we do and how do we do it? We ask a lot of questions, and it's not for us to be nosy, but it's so that we can get an idea of what the client wants to keep. And then the real question is why you want to keep it, right? We want to keep everything. That's the reason why our house has so much stuff, right? We don't want to get rid of these items. So how do we start the process of making that decision on what we want to keep and not keep? And it starts with asking ourselves questions. Do you really need it, right? What's the purpose and why are you keeping it? Why do you need it, right? When was the last time you used it? Now, if the answer is going to be yes, I need it, then when was the last time you used it? Well, maybe about 10 years ago, I bought that blender because it was on sale at Costco and I wanted to start making smoothies and things. When was the last time you used it? Or when will you use it again, right? How often do you use that item? Maybe you haven't used it in 5, 10 years. Are you actually going to use it again, right? Is it replaceable? Is that item something you can replace if you were to get rid of it, right? Some of those things, I have an example, is we had a client with aluminum tinfoil pans. She had probably about 2 dozen of them, and it was up in one of the cupboards. She couldn't reach it because she was about my height. She had to get on a stairs or a step to grab them. And when we took them out, you could tell that it wasn't used very often. And all of them were also recycled. They weren't new. So we went through the process of, what are you keeping them for? Why do you need it? How often do you use it? And she told me the story that, I use it for when I go out to dinner parties, and she basically uses it Thanksgiving because she makes a casserole dish, takes it to her niece's house, and she doesn't want to have to worry about her pans. And so I asked her, oh, well, you have so many, all different sizes. And she said, well, when I go to parties and, somebody brings aluminum foil pan and it's still in good condition, I take it home because I know I could use it later. Well, through that conversation and us going back and forth, I found out that Long's had a sale that weekend, and aluminum tin foil pans was on sale. So I think it was like about $1 something or $2. And so I showed her the ad. I said, is this one of the items that you can replace should you need it? And is it worth replacing when you need it and you can use that cupboard for something else? Right? Because she had a mixer and a blender and a food processor that she wanted to find space for. So through that story and through that conversation I had with her, she realized, well, I'd rather throw these out and keep my expensive mixers and appliances. And when I need the aluminum tinfoil pan, she'll just go and purchase one at that time. So through this dialogue, she understood why she wanted to, or why she should get rid of it, and why she should keep the other items that, were more expensive and not as easily replaceable. So as you go through things in your home, ask yourself these questions and really think about, when did you use it, or why are you keeping it? Memories is one thing, but if it's something that is useful or something that's not really useful to you, that's where you can start purging those items that you're not really using, right? Last but not least, and actually it's the first question to ask yourself, if you are making a move, say you've decided to move to a retirement community in 5 years, the first question to ask yourself is, where will it fit in my new home, right? Will I need a blender, the mixer, the food processor, the pasta maker, right? Will I need all those items if I move to a retirement community? And where will it fit? So those questions should help you through the process of getting rid of your stuff, and answer those questions really honestly. Let's see, next. There is a question, are we able to obtain a copy of this presentation? You can email me at the end, and I can discuss with you about sending you some slides. It's a really big file, so I could probably send you the slides that you want, but yes, you can do that. Next, what is this SORT acronym? S-O-R-T.
Well, let me real quick. This will all be archived in the Generations magazine. So generations808.com under webinars. So it'll all be recorded and it'll all be saved there. And I'll do that. It takes about 24 hours for it to upload. So tomorrow it'll be there, along with all of our other webinars. So you can check them whenever you like. Sorry to interrupt, Cynthia.
Awesome. Thanks, Rick. That's good information to know. And for the future and the past webinars too, you guys can check that out at Generations website. So what is this SORT acronym, right? We actually talk about sorting as well as the SORT acronym. SORT is known for S for sell, O for offer, R for retain, and T for toss. We want to talk about selling items, donating or offering things, keeping or retaining items, and then toss. So that's our acronym for SORT. You're going to have, I think about it as 4 corners. When you go through your closets or go through areas, you're going to have a sell pile, an offer pile, a retain or keep pile, and then a toss pile. So we'll talk about that today. So why do we sort? If you look at this bedroom right here, you would probably say, maybe just throw it all away, right? The family of this client, that's what they told us. I did a walkthrough and they said, you know what, we don't need anything. We have Auntie's jewelry that she owned. We have her paperwork. So really, unfortunately, all this can just be thrown away. Because the house was termite eaten as well. If you notice on the wall, there's duct tape holding up the panels. A lot of this was thrown out. But the reason why we sort and the reason why we go through all of the items in a home with or without a client is because of this. We found $16,000 of cash in the dresser. And it wasn't like you open the dresser and you look through the dresser. It was actually, we got rid of the stuff in the dresser, but then we also noticed there were things in the back of the dresser. Have you ever had a, in those old style plastic bags that we don't have now, and it gets stuck in the back of your dresser where it's so warm. And this was a metal dresser, so even more so, it got pushed into the dresser so much, and it went over the inside of the dresser, and it got stuck to the back of the inside of the wall. Now, if we didn't take the drawers out, or if we didn't look to see if there's anything hidden back there, we would have literally thrown away $16,000. And this is the reason why we sort, because we want to make sure we find items. And this wasn't even our biggest item we found. In another estate, we found $20,000 in gold bars. And quite honestly, I've never seen a gold bar before. And it was actually rolled up in a bag, in another bag. And it was like, one of those Russian dolls where it's small to big, but it was like that in containers. And the outside container was a cat litter box. And most people will open one and be like, okay, there's another and another, and be like, oh my God, it's probably just all boxes, just throw it away. Well, we know that people hide stuff, and we know that, not intentionally, but we know that we need to sort through things and look for stuff, because we have found $20,000. We found $36 of cash yesterday underneath a puzzle that was made on a dining table. We also want to make sure we find things that are really precious, the family photos, the family videos, because once you throw those away, unfortunately, you can never get them back, right? Our black and whites were never digitized. So we want to make sure that we can find those items, save it for our clients, and make sure it gets returned. I did have a question in the past that someone said, is it like finders keepers, or do you guys return all the items? Yes, from a bucket of pennies to the $20,000, we return all those items to our clients. It's not ours, and it's really a rewarding feeling to have the joy in our client's face, like, oh my God, you found that? Where did you find that? Right? Or the appreciation that we return those items. So it belongs in the proper home, and yes, we always return those items. So I thought this comic was funny. I don't think you're getting the point of the exercise, right? As we sort through things on the first day, this is probably what it looks like. The client wants to keep more than get rid of. So the keep pile is so piled high, and the toss and the donation pile is really small. If you do notice that the sell pile, there's not a sell pile in this picture. And that's mostly because a lot of items are not sellable for the amount of money that you're going to expect it to be. So I will go through that just shortly on the sell aspect. But I thought this was really funny because we do this, right? We go through a cabinet, and all we have is not even a bag of trash. It's like a quarter full, and then everything still is in the closet, right? It's still not decluttered. So hopefully it won't be like this, but this we thought was really funny. So we talk about the sell aspect. Unfortunately, during COVID, we have not sold more than half a dozen of things. And it's mainly because people don't want to visit somebody, right? Or go to a stranger's home, or actually our clients, because they're very vulnerable, they're 75 and over, they don't want strangers coming into their homes or meeting them to sell things. So in a normal period, selling of items could be a garage sale or an estate sale. Also selling items online. We use Craigslist, and actually what we've been more successful on is Facebook and Facebook Marketplace. Personally, we've sold a lot of things just based on our own personal Facebook pages. Like, we post everything on Marketplace, as well as our Senior Move Managers Facebook page, as well as our Declutter Hawaii Facebook page. And I personally posted on my Facebook page, and we've actually sold things just from that. So it's a really great place to sell things online. We just sold my rims for my new 4Runner on there. But again, we're not going to get what we want to get, right? We want $600 for the rims. We're going to get $300. But these are just ideas on selling items. I'll show you a few pictures. So if you could add in the chat feature, what would you want to sell these two items for? The curio cabinet, number one, it was in really great condition. It's cherry wood. It actually was very clean. There was no damage to it, not even any scratches. I think they bought it and put it in this house and then never moved it. And this client kept everything cleaned, really cleaned actually. How much would you want to sell, or what would you want if you had to sell this curio cabinet? What would you want it for? Would you sell it for $100, $200? Rick, you have any guesses?
Oh, that looks, it's cherry wood, solid cherry
Yes.
wood.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty sweet. So selling them together or separate?
Separately, the curio cabinet.
Separately. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'd do $500 each.
Okay, that's a good guess actually. So I think our client bought it for a couple thousand, the curio cabinet, and
I bet.
he wanted it at 500. At the time that we were gonna sell it, nothing really was selling that high, so we started it at 500. It actually ended up selling for $200, and
Wow.
I tell you why. So the people who own curio cabinets, they already have one, right? The ones that are purchasing furniture aren't gonna go out and look for a curio cabinet. So one, they're not purchasing big items like this. We don't have big houses. We don't have things to display. And two, I think in the past 10 years, we maybe sold maybe 6 curio cabinets. And again, it's how many buyers there are out there and how many people actually want it, right?
Yeah.
The highest one we've sold was like $2,000, and it was a koa one. But you know, koa is
Wow.
worth more, right? So,
Right.
what about the bed set? What would you think? It's a platform, mattress, headboard, and you know what? It was only 1 month old.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Does anybody want to take a guess in the chat box or make an offer? Are you still selling it?
No. So one of the questions we asked.
So I would say,
go ahead.
well, I would say the same, $500.
$500. Okay. So the first question we ask our clients when they want to sell a bed is, would you buy a bed from a stranger? And most clients will say, I don't know, it depends on what the price is, or depends on, the situation. Well, unfortunately, most clients and most people actually won't buy beds from strangers because they don't know who last slept on it, who, what was done on it, if it's been soiled, if it's been stained, if there's bed bugs, right? You're really just trusting the person to say, no, nothing was done on it. Nothing was, it was never soiled,
Well,
or
Cynthia,
stained or anything.
would you maybe get rid of the mattress and just sell the frame? That's what I'm thinking.
Yes, we could. We could sell the frame as well. And this is a whole piece. We haven't sold frames alone as well. Again, most clients who want a bed frame or a headboard already have them. Nowadays, people just buy even air mattresses and sleep on it. So in the past 10 years, we haven't sold many beds. This one we sold for $150, I believe. And I did disclose that was only, 1 month old. The client only slept on it for a month, and then the house was vacant for like 2 years. So it wasn't only a month old, but it was only slept on for a month. We sold it for $150, and this was the second bed in 10 years that we sold. The other bed that we sold was a Tempur-Pedic king size adjustable bed, and I think that went for like $1,500 when you would purchase it for like $10,000. So the idea of it is it's about 10 cents to $1. If you bought a leather sofa for $1,000, you might be able to sell it for $100 to maybe $300. And we've seen about a 10 cents to $1 type scenario. If it's in good condition, you have to look at the condition, any rips, any stains, termites as well. So unfortunately, it's really hard to sell certain items. Now, dressers, so pretty quickly. Dining tables, not so much because it's so large. So if you have a compact dining table, that probably can be sold very fast. But a lot of people like dressers or storage cabinets or those type of things. And quite honestly, you can go to Walmart and buy a dresser for $40. It might only last you a couple years because it's press board and but that's nowadays what they're buying. And that's the millennials, right? Buy something that you need now, and if it breaks, it breaks. Spend another $40. So some of the other items we always see in clients' homes are these, I guess, takeout containers, poke containers. I think the one in the Glad with the red top was ham, right? Because when you go to Costco, you buy the big ham, and it comes into that container. We suggest that you recycle it or get rid of it and keep the stuff that you spent a lot of money on. Reuse Tupperware. I don't suggest reusing takeout containers more than once. My grandparents used to have parties at their house before COVID almost every month, and they always saved their Zippy's containers and Costco containers. But every month when we had a party, we used it as to-go containers. So after we're done eating, I would make plates for all of the uncles and cousins, and they can take leftover food home in those containers, and then they can dispose of it. So if you do use them more regularly for that type of thing, I can understand. But yesterday we cleared out a house, and oh, Rick, you passed out Meals on Wheels. There were like, I don't know, this many, and like 5 or 6 stacks of the trays from the Meals on Wheels. Like, you eat it and you clean it up and you save it, but why are we saving it, right? But that's what we see on a day-to-day basis. Egg cartons, milk cartons, all those type of things. You want to make sure you can recycle it right away, or if you're using it for a project, then make use of it right away instead of storing it and keeping it like this. China, we all have China, right? I have a set that is in a box at my parents' house from my grandparents, and I think I'm going to inherit another set from my other grandparents. But not everybody uses China, right? And unfortunately, you can't sell this China for anything of what you got for it. We've sold some sets at estate sales, and they maybe go from $400 to $40 to $100, and they're usually sent back to the Philippines. Unfortunately, so people are not buying it because it's China. So we've also had people that reuse the items for, like, one of our clients baked cookies, and every time she baked cookies, she put it on one of her platters and she gave it to a friend, and that platter was also a gift to that friend. So other ways to use your China, because unfortunately the generations, the millennials, the 20s, the 30-year-olds, they're not registering for China. They don't want China. I don't think my young cousins even know what that is, right? It's the stuff in grandma's cabinet that nobody ever gets to touch. So we want to make sure we use it now. I always suggest to our clients, if you have China, use it now, because if you don't use it, there's likely chance that your children will use it or your grandchildren will use it. So please try to use your China. There are places online like replacements.com that do sell pieces of China, but most times it's just pieces here and there and not a whole set. Donation locations on the island, I believe some of them are doing pickup right now. So you can call them to see if they're open to picking up things. Some places you can just drop them off. We've gone to Goodwill. They are looking through the items to make sure that it's donatable. Salvation Army, we just went to the other day. So those two I do know that are open, but some of the other places could be hit or miss, especially through COVID. And as the numbers change, I think places are deciding whether they want to open up or close. To keep and retain, remember the questions, right? Do you really need it? When was the last time you used it? When will you use it again? And is it replaceable? You want to feel zen, right? You don't want to have all this chaos and all this stuff. You want to feel really zen about the items that you're going to keep. And last but not least, the toss pile. Opala.org is a great website for anything to throw out, anything to get rid of. They have collection schedules, drop-off locations. I book bulky pickups on the opala.org. They can also tell you about hazardous drop-offs, as well as recycling and donation sites on there. Or you can call a haul away company and haul all the items from your home into a truck and away.
So,
This is,
could you talk
yes,
about, so I find that they're a little bit picky about what they'll take, Goodwill and places like that.
yes,
Will you talk about that a little bit too?
yes. So I can talk about that at the end too, but specifically, a lot of places, they're turning away linen right now. I know, like, we went to Goodwill and they didn't take any of the linen, so we ended up taking it to Humane Society. They will not take Christmas decorations, and I'll go over that towards the end as well. But they won't take those type of items. They are looking for like clothing and household goods that can be reused. Salvation Army actually took everything the day that we went. They even took hangers, which most places won't take hangers. So yeah, they have been a little bit more picky because I think they have such a big inventory. They won't take broken things, of course. Like if from your house through the car to the Goodwill, say you didn't wrap the glasses and they broke, obviously they won't take that kind of stuff. Things in this picture they won't take. Rusted stuff, like I said, if they can noticeably see soiled. We've even had, like, if you want to donate books, you have to look at the edge of the book, and if it's discolored or brown, they won't take those books either. And VHS tapes they won't take as well. So it really needs to be in a condition. And the way we try to focus our idea of donations is, would you buy that item if it was at Goodwill, right? In some of the homes that we do where there's might be a rat infestation or a rodent problem, unfortunately we can't donate a lot of those things because there's rat stuff on it or too many cockroaches. The donation places won't take that. So you really have to look at the condition. And the way I think about it too is, would I buy it? If I were to go to Goodwill, would I purchase that item? Is it in that condition that I would want to purchase it and spend money on it? So this is before the toss. This is a 3-car garage. If you notice the weight systems, there are fishing poles, newspapers, coolers, tools, and other supplies. And this is an 80-year-old client that was moving to a retirement community. And this is all the stuff that we had to throw away from her home. So I was joking around with her, oh, wow, how much can you bench press, right? And she's like, you know what, Cynthia? Oh, this is not even my stuff. My sons, they bring over stuff and say, Mom, I'm going to use your storage, or Mom, I'm going to drop this off, and Mom this and Mom that, right? And Mom's not going to say no. And this is what happens. Mom wants to move at 80 years old. Her kids don't live on the island anymore, so now Mom has to get rid of it, right? This is the 3-car garage. It took up one 40-foot container of stuff that we had to throw away. Bulky pickup, you can't do this now. These were older pictures, obviously. We broke down a tree house on the right that was termite eaten, but we broke it down, put it on bulky pickup, and they took it away. The one on the left had appliances, furniture, all kinds of things from the house. We put it on the street and they took it away. Unfortunately, that's not the way it goes anymore. You only can put 5 pieces, and you have to know the 5 pieces that you're going to take out, and they'll take it away. But this on the left actually saved our client about $600 because we use bulky pickup. So getting organized, you want to identify the most valuable space in your home, right? Where do you spend the most time? What have you looked for and never could find it, right? How do you get organized, right? Now that you've downsized your home or you've decluttered, you want to make sure you come up with an organizational system. You determine what items are mostly used. For us, we help you identify the space that you're not using properly. A lot of that is cabinets, kitchen, drawers, storage areas. And then a lot of us don't use our vertical space, right? We use the horizontal space. We have dressers that are only 3 feet high, but we don't ever use our vertical space. So how can we make use of the vertical space more than the horizontal space? And then labeling, right? I've labeled things in our home from when my daughter was little to now, office supplies, all of her toys. When you can't read, I used to take pictures or print out cutouts of things, and I would put that on the front of the drawer so she knew, oh, that's where the crayons go, that's where the pens go, that's where everything goes. And for me, I like labeling because I don't like to look in 5 bins to get to what I want. The other idea of bins and storage containers is buy the clear ones so that you can visually see it, but also with the label, you know exactly what's in there. And then last but not least, I talk about prime real estate. And I'm not talking about selling your home or anything, but I'm talking about the real estate in your home, the stuff in your home, right? Um, Everything that you use, and this is my rule of thumb, everything that you use on a daily basis should not be above your fingertips when you put your hand up or below your fingertips when you put your hand down. Because if I put everything in this circle of area, then I can reach it. I don't need to go on a step stool every day to grab the coffee, right? It shouldn't be that high. It should be lower so you can get to it every day. The items that are going to be above your fingertips and below your fingertips would be the stuff that you rarely use or things that you use not as often. Okay. So if you go into your refrigerator, you want to make sure the items that you use the most are right here so that you can get to it easily, right? And so I'm 5'2" and my husband's 6'2". There's one drawer that my husband can't see because, right, his prime real estate is higher than mine. And I call that my like secret drawer because he never looks in that drawer. So I can hide candy and I can hide all these things in that drawer and he won't see it because it's not in his view. But everyone's prime real estate is different. So, would you like to be like this man on the left? Oh, everything in its place. Now I can relax, right? Lift your hands up and relax. Or are you like the lady on the right? And this is my bed where I keep my clothes pile. And this is my desk chair where I keep my clothes pile. And how many of us have treadmills where we keep our clothes pile, right? I call that organized chaos because a lot of us know where exactly where something is, but it's not organized, right? In a pile of paper, you can say, "Oh yeah, it's about the middle. It's about the middle of that pile. You can find that one paperwork you want, right?" So I'd like to be relaxed and at peace, but some people like to be more chaotic and like to have things their own way. But I just thought that was two different perspectives on things, right? So organization, shoe rack, it's super easy to get a shoe tree, which is the after picture. It takes up 1 square foot of space and you can put 18 to 36 pairs of shoes. And literally you can put it behind a door. We had ours up on our L-shaped stairs. Nobody, we didn't use the corner. Or would you rather have the unorganized typical shoebox, right? You throw your shoes in, you gotta look for where it is the next day, and it might be a little not aired out in there. But the shoe tree, it really holds a lot of pairs of shoes, and it can be organized and it's very visual. Home modifications. When you decide to age in place and you don't want to move, there are going to be things you want to make sure you do to your home so that you can age in that home, right? And home modifications would be small things as removing trip hazards, things like area rugs, cable cords, right? Do you have your TV on one wall, but the cable outlet's on the other? And you have a cable going from one wall to the other wall underneath an area rug, right? We want to make sure we try to eliminate as much trip hazards as possible in our home so that, we don't trip and fall, right? Increased lighting could be as easy as making sure the bulb in your light is on or working. Maybe make it a higher wattage so it's brighter. Maybe use LED lights or I don't know what those bulbs are called. Or maybe you have 5 bulbs and 2 of them are out, so that's why it's a little darker. So increased lighting, cleaning out the light, what do you call it? The light covers. One thing that we notice, our clients with dark walls, painting them really brings out light in the room. So you want to make sure you can see things as you get older, right? I mean, for me too, I can't read things in the dark anymore. Adding grabber bars in strategic areas, especially in bathroom, in the showers. Maybe you have a stairs and you need to put a rail over there. You want to make sure that you have that stability on when you get up off the toilet or when you get up out of bed, or just areas that you have a difficult time in them. Assessing mobility issues, not just for currently, right? We can go all over the place. I can run up and down the stairs. I can get through that small little area, but what would it look like in 5 years or in 10 years, right? Or maybe in 20 years, right? What would my health be like? And what will my mobility issues be like in the future? And last but not least, I suggest looking at your kitchen and bathrooms and doing some renovations. My number one suggestion for home modifications is renovating your bathroom. If you have the time, if you have the finances for it, I would do it now versus when you're in a situation where it needs to be done in a week, right? You want to transform one of your tubs into a walk-in shower. That way, when you need it, you can use it right away versus having to remodel your kitchen at a time where it's an emergency. So my suggestion is looking at different areas in your kitchen and your bathrooms and making sure that it's easier accessible to you. So simplifying after the holidays. We did a webinar November and December about simplifying before the holidays. So this one's going to be about after the holidays, right? You want to look at your items. Like, I don't know if all of you've taken down your Christmas items yet. I mean, it is January 20th. But if you haven't yet, as you take down your holiday things, you want to think about what you're going to be doing with those items. So one is going through the Christmas and holiday decor. You want to declutter your gift wrapping supplies. You want to declutter toys and clothing, and what I call a whole house declutter suite. So we're going to talk about the Christmas and holiday decor. So remember I talked to you about labeling. So while the picture is great, there's shelving, you can put all the bins, there's no labels on those bins. And if you want a specific thing, you're going to have to go through all of those bins to find them, right? So while this is a great organizational system with storage bins as well as shelving, you also want to make sure you label the bins so you know exactly where everything is. As you are going through your holiday decor, you want to get rid of the things you don't love, you don't put up, or you didn't put up in years, you are not using, or you haven't used in a while, right? Because you don't want to keep things just to keep things, especially if now you started with 5 bins of Christmas and now you have 20 bins and 10 bins are down your hallway, right? That's not really the best place you want to keep them. So we want to make sure we get rid of the things that we aren't using or haven't used, or if they're broken, or maybe you have 3 of them, and what takes too much time and effort to put together, right? Unfortunately, when we talk about donations, and if you go through your Christmas stuff right now, the donation places won't take it. One, because they're going to have to store it for a whole year until they're able to sell it. So most donation places will not take holiday items after the holiday. So a good idea as you go through your bins now, Valentine's Day is coming up. We're all starting to put Valentine's Day things up. Whatever you don't put up, why don't you donate those now? Same thing as Easter. When you're starting to get your Easter stuff out, take out the items you like, the things you don't use, don't like, haven't used, get them to the donation places before the holiday comes. That way they can resell it and other people can enjoy it and make their own memories with it. So unfortunately, if you go through your holiday stuff now, you aren't going to be able to donate them. But of course, they don't want things that are broken, things that might be too complicated to put together because they'll have to sell it. And if it's not all in one piece, then a lot of times it's hard for them to sell. Okay. Gift wrapping supplies. There are so many different ways to organize your gift wrapping supplies. This one shown in the picture is an over-the-door type of organizational system. There are also separate type of bins that you can put gift wrapping tubs in, and other things. I have a cabinet of supply of crafts, and part of my crafts is also my gift wrapping supplies. And quite honestly, when for Christmas time, I buy like 4 rolls of wrapping paper and I use them all. I don't buy 8 of them and keep 4 for the next year. I really don't have Christmas wrapping when it's not during the Christmas time. I keep whatever I can reuse for bowls or bags that can be reused. Bags are pretty easy because you can stack them lining up and it takes up less space. But again, only keep what you're really gonna use, right? Don't keep an abundance of them just because you like them or it's pretty, or because if we don't have the space, we really can't keep all those items, right? Purchase only what you need. I try to recycle as much as possible. However, I give a lot of gifts out. So just a backstory, I help my grandparents a lot, and I buy all their gifts. Every cousin, every auntie, every uncle, every anniversary, I buy all the gifts. And just in January, I think we have 5 birthdays. So I have to buy gifts constantly. And that's the reason why I do recycle and do try to keep bags and wrapping paper, but I only have so much that I can fit in my area. So if you notice the picture, that's a perfect amount of stuff, and it's on the door where usually a lot of people don't use that space. So that's a perfectly good amount of wrapping paper and wrapping supplies to keep. Okay. I thought this was funny because if you have a child, you know that kids somehow like mess up the house so fast. And this is saying, hey, is that a wide open, clean, clutter-free space? Let's totally ruin that, right? Because for some reason, kids can make a clean area completely cluttered in matter of seconds. They could take out the Legos, and they can take out the cars, and they can take out the Barbie dolls, and all of it is left on the ground somehow. And I thought that was really funny, especially when you have kids. But decluttering toys and kid stuff, this is really good, especially if you have growing kids. I have a daughter, she's 9. Every November and every April, we do a declutter sesh because she is born in May and she's going to get a lot of gifts. And Christmas time, you get a lot of gifts. And I cannot have her space cluttered. So in November and April, we go through the items and we say, what did you play with? What didn't you play with? We do donate some stuff. We do get rid of it, or we do find other family members or like our neighborhood kids. If they like certain things, we try to share it with others. But this cannot happen, right, on a day-to-day basis. So my daughter was really into Legos 2 years ago. I mean, she got Legos here, Legos there, Legos everywhere. And it was all in a bin. And I was like, okay, well, we need to find this one certain piece. And it was really hard to find a certain piece in a whole container of 2,000 Legos. So what we did was we bought drawers, and now each drawer is a specific color. Red and pink are together, blue and green are together. And now it's very easy to get to her Legos and to the items that you want. So decluttering toys, keeping it, organized in a way that kids can create that organizational system. And I tell our clients, it's not you to have to clean your kids' stuff. It's your kids to have to learn how to keep themselves organized as well. Clothing, cleaning out your wardrobe, old wardrobe, maybe stuff that's too big, stuff that's too small. Seasonal items. I know we're not in the mainland, but I know, I would have a really big closet if we lived in the mainland. I could have snow clothes, I could have summer clothes, fall clothes. But in Hawaii, we really only have one, right? So how to organize our closets so that we can get to the clothes that we want and get the clothes that we need. A closet like the left is just piled of stuff. When you have to look for it, it's usually not on the top. You can use shelving systems. There's a lot of places that do closet systems, shelving systems you can do on your own so that everything is in its place, pants and shirts and shoes and those type of things. So a closet like this can be done in your closet if it looks like the one on the left. So.
Cynthia, your picture on the left, I would worry about mice, rats, cockroaches, all kinds of things living in that mess. So
especially when you have cardboard boxes. So if you have stacks of cardboard boxes and you want to keep it as storage, I would suggest putting it in plastic bins, because the cardboard boxes attract more cockroaches than plastic bins. So, you know, like maybe some of that clothes in that pile, like all the jeans you're not wearing right now because it's, you know, well, actually now it's cold, but even putting them in bins are better than having it thrown on the floor, because yes, that attracts cockroaches and
Right.
other
Right.
things.
So we had a futon now out on our lanai that we moved here from Seattle with, old futon with the frame and everything. And just a few weeks ago, I was cleaning our lanai. We haven't used it in a long time. I decided just to wash everything down. In the futon, I discovered a dead mouse,
Oh yeah.
and the fur was all over the place. So I did I scheduled the appointment for them to pick it up. So it was picked up last Monday.
Mm.
But it was because there was no way to salvage that. The
Yeah.
hair was everywhere. So, but a mess like that could, oh boy, that would be bad.
Yeah, they like to find places to, you know, sleep and make a house. So yeah, we've had that before. We've had it in like sofas or recliners, especially outside, but I mean we've seen it inside homes too. But yeah, they like to find a way to get in and then make their house there. So yeah, I would stay away from if you're gonna store stuff outside, like you could leave a non-cushion chair outside and that would be fine. Like if you had like a bench type of chair or seat, but the cushions, yeah, they
Yeah.
like that stuff.
Well, I think
What I
high legs where you can see underneath it. That's what
Yeah.
because the futon was low to the ground. That was the problem. It was the only piece of furniture that was low to the ground.
Yeah.
Yep.
And also cats, like if you have stray cats in your area, they like that spaces too. Okay, so what I call a whole house declutter sweep, and I do this actually fairly often in our house, is basically going through the whole house and making quick decisions. So opening a cupboard and noticing, oh yeah, I don't need that cup, or I haven't used that stuff. Let me take 3 of those items out. I don't need those. Going into your bedroom and pulling out 2 dresses that you know have a stain or have a rip in it when you saw it, or going through just areas in your home and doing what I call a quick sweep. So even open your medicine cabinet, look in your medicine cabinet, and if you find, oh, that's old, oh, that's really old, oh, that's, you know, that's what I call a declutter sweep. And people do this every month. I do this quite often when I'm in my cleaning mode, just looking for things that we haven't used, we haven't, we won't use again, or even things like old food, going through your pantry, because unfortunately everybody has old food in their pantry. They really don't know it, but they do. So going through your pantry and just getting rid of the old food could be one quick sweep. But I suggest doing a quick sweep, whether it's once a month. If you're deciding to do this decluttering, that's a good way to start, is to just sweep and tell yourself, okay, I'm gonna fill up 2 bags of stuff, or I'm gonna fill up a box of stuff. And then that way you feel accomplished. Number one, you took that step to start decluttering, but 2, you got rid of stuff in each area of your home. And then it'll get easier as you do that. So if you'd rather do like the declutter sweep, I would suggest doing a declutter sweep to start off every other week, maybe, and then every month. That way you can start accumulating things to get rid of. One way to always have a donation area in your home is what I call a donation box. In our home, it's called a share bin. From when my daughter was little, if something didn't fit, or if we were done playing with it, or she doesn't like it anymore, I would tell her, please go put it in the share bin. And the share bin is down our hallway, at the end of the hallway. And once it gets filled, I bag it up and we take it to Goodwill, or we take it to the closest donation place. And this is an ongoing box of things. Like, we put on a top and we're like, oh, that doesn't fit anymore, or oh, that's too big. We put it in the share bin. And I don't think we donate stuff every month, but occasionally it'll get full and then we'll take it away. So I would suggest, if you're doing that, another way to get rid of stuff and know that you have to get rid of stuff is schedule a donation pickup once a month. That way, you have to, whether you have 1 box of stuff ready or 10 boxes of stuff ready for pickup, that it's gonna be picked up on that first Monday of the month or something.
That's a good
So
idea.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you need to start purging, it's a good way to remind you that you need to get stuff done, right? And then also making sure your trash bin is filled every time you do a pickup. I don't know if it's weekly for people with homes. Like our trash is twice a week because I live in a townhouse. But if your trash comes once a week and you're starting to purge stuff, make sure that trash bin is full every time it comes. That way, you know you're getting rid of 5 bags of stuff. Because unfortunately, you bring four bags of stuff every week home, right? Whether you think about it or not, you bring home stuff every single day. So you need to start getting rid of stuff every single day. So a quick sweep, a declutter sweep is really great. Like I said, a donation box, and even having a monthly donation pickup.
So Cynthia, Eileen asked a question that I live with as well. So my parents are hoarders. So how do you handle homeowners or people that are reluctant to have items removed? Family wants this done, but the person that you're doing it that they want it done for, like our parents, are resistant to it. I'm sure you encounter that.
Yes, we do encounter it a lot. Unfortunately, we cannot help somebody who doesn't want to be helped. Now, however, if you as the son are telling mom, get rid of all your junk. Why are you keeping this? Da, 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 da. They're not going to be as receptive to you than somebody like me who would come in and talk to them about their stuff and have a different perspective of it. Like, so the way we come in is we don't say you have all this junk. We talk about, what does this mean to you? Tell me a little bit about this. And then as we start going through things, the clients actually be like, well, that's not very important to me. I could probably get rid of that. So just through conversations, clients actually start to realize, I don't need all this stuff. They just don't want to be told, especially if you're the child telling the parent, right? Don't tell me what I cannot and cannot keep, or don't tell me I need to get rid of this stuff. Right. So, and I mean, it happens in every family. The parents will not listen to the child, no matter what position they're in. There could be the best brain surgeon, but that brain surgeon child cannot tell me I have a brain problem, right? It has to be somebody else.
Right.
So,
I'll tell you what, my brothers actually sent my parents out to visit Susan and I. We were living in Seattle, my wife and I, and they're from North Dakota. While they were gone, they cleared everything out.
Oh, how were they when they got back?
Not good, because they threw out antique stuff. They threw out valuable things. I mean, they just did what you just had there, just a deep clean, and they didn't take anything into consideration. So it's still being complained about today, and that was 20 years ago.
Yeah. So in that situation, because like your brothers and sisters don't know what your parents valued, it could be something as small as like a piece of paper that had information on it that you didn't feel that was important, but they did. So, I would not recommend that type of thing. Mostly because we don't know what our parents find treasured versus what we find treasured.
Kind of funny story. In the garage, they found a whole bunch of dead mice at the very beginning, which is what sparked this cleaning. And at the very end, in the very far corner, one of the last things they found was a stack of giant bags of mice killer. So the mice had eaten it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. There's other stories.
Yeah. I mean, it happens everywhere. And I have clients that call and just are so upset, and then I said, well, let me talk to mom and dad, and we even have them not even come, right? Because if the child is there saying, mom, you need to do this, you need to do that, all the parent hears is all this stuff versus like the encouragement and the different kind of, that their stuff means something. Everyone wants their stuff to mean something to other people, right? So we have to really be respectful of that.
Well, also aging with dignity. You don't want to be told what to do. You need to help them be a part of the decision. So having a professional like Cynthia come in and talk to them about that probably is a lot more approachable, manageable, and acceptable than bossing somebody around or doing what my brothers did to my folks. Not good. Yeah. Don't take their power away from them. Help them be part of the decision.
Yes, exactly right, Rick. And a lot of people feel that, like with their parents, if they have dementia or Alzheimer's, that they're not going to notice, but they notice certain things. So that's why it's better to have them in the process than not in the process. right? So yeah, that's a good story. It happens a lot actually. I hear a lot of people say things like, "Oh, I'm just gonna have my parents go on a trip and then we're gonna get rid of all their stuff." But um, I'll get to Randall's question as soon as we are done about prices and stuff. So I just
Well,
wanted to
let me just put out there. So we're doing a lot of nonprofit today. So online here in this video, we won't do pricing kind of stuff. But we can
okay.
get we can get that to Randall separate or anybody that wants that information. And I
Okay.
assume you have a website with that information, Cynthia?
Yes, I do. So just to finish up, I put this to kind of let people know you want to enjoy your life, right? Um, we've been spending a lot of time with family. This is my family. My grandmother is 90 years old with my daughter. My daughter learned how to sew this past year, and I really want to start doing more sewing things. I've always wanted to make a quilt, but when we start to declutter and start to really hone in onto the items that we want and we want to keep and we want to use, we want to start enjoying our life, right? We don't want to live in, and this is what clients have said, I don't want to live like this anymore. I want to live and be happy. I want to enjoy, our property is usually the most money that we own, right? Our property, like, I mean, what houses are going for $800,000 or whatever. So our property is really our biggest asset, and we want to make sure that we can enjoy that, right? Have friends over, have family over. So having gone through and decluttering your stuff, most of our clients then tell us, you know what, I'm enjoying life now. I'm enjoying the things I used to enjoy. I'm enjoying sewing again. I'm enjoying having my friends over for coffee. And for me, enjoying life is my family, is exercising, and my daughter, and doing new things. Oops. So a little bit about us. We are a family run business. We do support our clients throughout the entire transition. Everything you saw was about us. This is our team. My website I will show again, as well as my phone number and email address. But I want to say one thing, and one thing really ties everything together, and it's about compassion. Compassion is something you cannot teach, something you have to just have within you. And compassion is being tender with the young, kind and gentle with the aged, sympathetic with those who are striving, tolerant with the weak, caring for those in need, and forgiving with the wrong. Because sometime in your life, you've been all of these. And, working with our kupuna, um, that's what you have to have, is compassion. I mean, if you don't have compassion, you know, it's just not the way to live. And compassion is really important to us, especially when working with kupuna. We go in the most personal space of our clients. We see the most, we hear the stories. So really having heart is what we need to have in everyday life. And this is our information. John is our operations manager. Now with COVID, we PPE up when we go in retirement communities that require that. We face masks, we temperature check, and we have protocols as far as, if you've gone out of the state 14 days and things like that. So my information is here should you have other questions, I guess, not related to price, you said?
Well, online we won't do related to price, but if you want to get a hold of Cynthia and that phone number there, you guys can certainly check that kind of stuff out. So what we're going to do with these webinars is we're going to build a network. So it's going to be a combination of nonprofits and for-profits. Of course, with Generations, we have a lot of partners that I'm starting with for presentations that are for-profit, but we're going to mix it up. Cost-wise, though, we want to do that offline. Just keep it, simple that way. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we do offer a 1-hour free consultation to clients.
There you go.
Where we can set up a meeting with them, see what their project is, see what their goals are, and then talk to them about their specific needs. So if anybody ever has any questions or want to set up a consult or have a client that has that, you think about that they might need this service, then please feel free to give me a call. I'd be more than happy to come out and talk with them.
And Cynthia,
are there any other questions?
Well, I'm sure there's a range of times. How long does it take generally to clean a place versus an apartment and a house? I mean, I'm sure it's a large range, but.
Yes, it can be a day or it can be up to a couple months. It just depends on how quickly the client needs it done and how much stuff they have.
Yeah. Okay. How many folks are on your team? Is this everybody on the photo? I'm sure you got a lot more.
Mainly we have about 6 that go from place to place. Just depends on, you know, if we've never really needed or wanted to have more than 6 at a job anyways. But we do split up. Yeah, our part-timers aren't in these pictures. Not all of our part-timers are in these pictures.
So then, Cynthia, I'm just really curious, how did you get into this? How did you start with Declutter?
So my uncle and auntie are realtors, Dan and Julie Ihara, and they started helping seniors. And a lot of times their seniors were moving to retirement communities. They're selling their home, and they were realizing that they don't have the support and the help to get to the retirement communities. One at a fair they're at, somebody mentioned to Dan about the National Association of Senior Move Managers. So Dan looked that up, and 11 years ago, he asked me to run this company. My background is in marketing and fundraising, as well as catering, management operations. So, and if you know me, I'm more on the organized. I'm the oldest of 14 grandkids. Right. And so that's just my personality. So Dan asked me to run his company, and you know, we started with the National Association of Senior Move Managers. We got a lot of their, we, you know, followed what they do, and then we've just kind of evolved. I think the way we've evolved is because if you've ever met John, John doesn't say no as well, and I can't say no. So if a client has a problem, we'll somehow figure it out and help them with their problem. So it's just a matter of being there as a resource. And that's why, you know, with Generations Magazine and stuff, we have all the resources, right? Like elder law, we have the care homes, the you know, caregivers and stuff. So we've used all of Generations partners as well to do things for our clients, because that's where, you know, we have that synergy and that networking.
Right. What a valuable resource. So Randall Mall has one question here, just added. Are you also providing house cleaning services at the same time, or do you vendor that out, as many people during this time don't want a lot of people in their homes? So having a one-stop shop could be helpful for the very cautious, vulnerable due to health issues. Yeah. So do you do the cleaning also, or just the decluttering?
We actually don't do the cleaning services. That was part of something that we were thinking about doing, but we have so much going on with just the moving and the decluttering that we haven't. We do vendor it out. I know one of your partners in Generations does cleaning, the Malama Puna or something. One of your partners does cleaning, but yes, we do have a vendor that comes out and does the cleaning portion.
Okay. You know, so that brings up a good point. So part of the webinar concept is for networking is to get everybody on here, so we all kind of hear about all the services. When we run into something, we can use it. And I'm sorry, you're going to say something, Cynthia.
No, I mean, we do cleaning. Like if we're doing an area of the kitchen and it's dirty, we will clean it at that time. But we're not like toilets and windows and bathrooms and stuff like that. Sorry.
So you're not doing deep cleaning, you're just doing surface cleaning.
Yeah.
Deep cleaning, we have somebody else do that. Okay. Other questions, folks? So very useful, Cynthia. So her page there with her information is right there. Anything else you want to add?
No, I do see a comment. I started decluttering the kitchen cabinets and tossed out the expired cans. Oh, so she said, I have difficult time donating items that were given to me out of respect for other persons. Yes, so I know a lot of people feel it's hard. Like, Rick, if you gave me something and I gave it away, I feel bad because, you know, it was given to me by you. During Christmas and during the holidays or during like a birthday or something, I tell clients that I would rather, if I gave something to you, Rick, and that wasn't your taste or that wasn't your liking, that if you took that and bought something that you really liked or really wanted, I would feel much better than you just keeping it and putting it in the closet. So
Oh,
Well,
sure.
a lot of us do feel like, oh, I feel bad because this person gave it to me. I usually talk to our clients about, well, wouldn't they feel better if you said, oh my gosh, thank you so much for that purse. It wasn't really my taste, but I bought this one and look at it, I love it. I would feel much better if I knew that the things that I was giving to people were actually being used versus being put in a box in the closet. So, yeah, while it's hard, I think people would understand it.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, we moved here from Seattle after, so my wife is from here and I lived here long ago. It's a long story, but we were in Seattle she was there 27 years. I was there 31 years. And we lived in a house, pretty big house, which quickly filled up. And I started a job here a few months before she actually got a job. So I cleared out as much as I could think of to clear out, left the rest for her divorce material. She just had a heck of a time getting this stuff out, what was left. And I didn't think it was that unreasonable what was there. But we spent an awful lot of time downsizing. And so with elders, our kapuna, many of them have been in the homes for many, many, many years, raised us in the homes. My mother's been in the same home since 1964. And although they decluttered it, my brothers did, it's cluttered again. And it's going to take a lot. So I think, Cynthia, this is very, very valuable just to kind of start the process of decluttering. I know my mother-in-law here, before she passed, or actually as soon as I kind of re-entered my wife's life, started giving us stuff that we still have, but she started decluttering early on. Yep. I had an auntie that actually took labels, little sticky notes, and labeled everything, who she wanted everything to go to before she passed away. She was a Rosie Riveter. She was a tough lady, and she was very organized too, kind of like you, Cynthia. She was very organized, and so she had everything laid out. So it's a process. This is all a big process for folks to go through, and with this process, especially end of life kind of stuff, it brings up a lot of grief, and everybody goes through grief differently, and so they're going to approach it differently. So being very just being there for the person rather than trying to take charge, is kind of important. It's a process to go through. So valuable that there's a program like yours out there that helps with this, Cynthia.
Yeah, thank you.
So,
yeah, so if anybody has any other questions, my phone number, my email is there. I'm more than happy to talk with anybody about a client or about themselves or about a friend. And we also have a website they can check on. We have our testimonies on there if anybody wants to read up on us.
Well, that would be good to look at. Okay, well, thank you, Cynthia. Now back to Generations Magazine, as you're all familiar with, been around for 10 years. This year, so just before the year ended, we really got busy, Percy and us at Generations, and we restarted the radio show. So it's on my little backdrop here. So it's on the Oldies channel, 101.1, Sunday mornings from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Randall Mao, who joined us here, they were on just this past weekend. Kathy Wyatt, who some of us know real well, she'll be on this coming weekend. We had Michelle Cordora-Lee from Hawaii Meals on Wheels, and I were on just a few weeks ago. Those are all archived to listen to. And so folks we'll probably get everybody that's here on there at some point. The webinars, again, they're going to be the third Wednesdays of the month. The idea is just to grab a lunch and sit down and join us, but all of these things are going to be archived in our Generations website, as I mentioned earlier. So that's generations808.com. Kind of cool when you click in there, there's a lot of information in there. So we have, and it's not overwhelming, I think it's really well laid out. So the magazine is there. So if you don't want to run out and find the magazine, which comes out every 2 months, you could actually read it right online. That's all there. They're all archived. Cynthia's grandparents, there's a whole great story on them way back when. That's all in there. All the stories are always there. You could actually go in and you could do a search and pull up everything that we've done through the 10 years that we've been around. So this webinar will be loaded along with the other ones that we've done. The radio shows are also archived there. Just click on the radio, and those go all the way back to the whole, I think 8 years they've been doing the radio show. We did take a break during COVID, and we just kind of started those up again. Here in the near future, we'll start the TV show again. More on that later. And that's us. Oh, there's also a great resource section in there, which has all the resources, and I'm kind of tasked with kind of updating that. So if you're looking for something, it should be there. If not, let me know. And if you find something that's not there, let me know, and we'll update that as well. My contact information is all on that Generations website as well. And then there's a calendar that I'm actually working on. I admit I need to get busy on that, but the idea is to get as many things that are going on around on all of our islands on there as timely as we possibly can. So we thank you for joining us. I think, Cynthia, this was an incredible start to the new year. I know my resolutions is to make sure we don't regain everything that we got rid of in Seattle a few years ago. It's very easy to do. We moved into my wife's house. We actually remodeled it, and everything's already full. So whenever she says, "Do you think we need something?" I say, "Nope, we don't need it. Don't have it now. We don't need it." Or didn't we get rid of that in Seattle? Wasn't there a reason we didn't bring it with us? Right. So, I mean, being mindful of how you bring things in, like Cynthia said, you're going to bring 4 bags in a month. So I worked with developmentally disabled for a long time in group home kind of settings. And our motto was, if you're going to buy something, you need to get rid of something. You think you need something, then what are you getting rid of? Because we didn't have much room. And that's just the way we kind of worked, or anything that works. Yeah. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, Cynthia. If there's no more questions, I think we'll wrap up. Yeah. Anything else, Cynthia, in closing?
Nope. Thank you for being here, everybody. And thank you, Generations Magazine and Rick as well.
All right. So we'll go again next month with Kathy Wyatt, and I'll send that information out soon. All right. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, let's see here.